Welcome to video 2 in your series of how to care for your brand new pool. You've already seen your once a week weekly care routine poolside. Now let's talk about the printout that will be emailed to you and how to interpret these results. Every time you get your water tested, you're going to get a printout that looks like this one. It has a few sections to it. The first part is information about your pool and your next recommended water test date. Then we have a section on regular weekly maintenance, your actual water test results, and then down at the bottom we have the product recommendations on how to take care of anything that's not in balance in the upper section. So let's just hop to it, shall we? As you've learned in video 1, once a week pool care is very easy and very straightforward, but let's review it a little just as a gentle reminder. Step 1, let's talk about your analysis. Whenever you get your water tested, about 1 month later, it's important to bring in a checkup water sample. Now, you can bring in water tests as often as you like. Either leave them at our contact-free drop zone or come right into the store. You're going to get your test results emailed right to your inbox. The regular maintenance of your pool is the most important part of your pool care, so it's the part to be most comfortable with. Every pool is a little bit different on what it needs, so we're just going to talk in terms of generalities for this analysis. Step 1, and the most important thing, test and adjust your chlorine levels regularly. It's important to maintain a chlorine level between 1 and 4 parts per million all the time. This is what's going to keep your water safe, sparkling, algae-free. So 1 to 4 parts per million of chlorine on your test strips. Most of us will test our water once a week before we do our regular care, plus once in the middle of the week, plus after a big event. A big event being either a party or even a big weather event, like rain or wind. This particular pool has a low chlorine level, so obviously we haven't been adding enough smart sticks. So we're going to test and adjust that and add more as needed. How often should you be putting them in? As often as you have to. Most people will use 1 stick for every 20,000 liters of water, once or twice a week. Next, we have Smart Shock. Smart Shock's job is to get rid of anything chemically dirty. So on a weekly basis, pick a day of the week that's pool day, and on that day, add 2 pouches of Smart Shock, wait 15 minutes, and go for a swim. And you can add your algae prevention right after. Now, never a bad idea after a big weather or human event to double check that chlorine level. Your sticks maintain a level, but Smart Shock is what establishes it. So if your chlorine level is ever under 1 part per million, even though it's not weekly maintenance day, please add 2 bags of Smart Shock and then increase your stick dosage. Next, we have Banish. This is your algae prevention. This pool needs 160 milliliters weekly, and it can go in right at the same time as your Smart Shock does. There are 2 optional products as part of regular routine care. Pool Complete is an amazing product for folks who are looking to use as little synthetic chemicals as possible, who want extra clear water with no ring around the pool, and to use enzymes to digest a lot of the moggy bits that can get into your pool, so there's less demands on your chlorine. If you're looking to use less chlorine in your pool, you would add Pool Complete on a weekly basis. This pool would use 320 milliliters. Some folks find that they don't use their pool as much if the solar cover is on the pool. I personally only use my solar blanket in spring and fall, and then in the summer, I choose to go topless because I use the pool more, and it's important for your water to breathe so that you need less chemicals and keep a more natural environment. So this particular pool would need 349 milliliters of Smart Shock once a month. I just set a little email reminder and get that taken care of for the first Sunday of every month. Put that Smart Shield in just around the pool edges. It helps prevent evaporation, which prevents evaporative heat loss. It doesn't work as great as the solar cover does, but sure better than nothing, and a cold pool is an empty pool, so always nice to take good care of things in that regard. Here we have the actual water test results. So if you want to know what your levels are reading, this is the section to pay attention to. This particular pool has a low pH at 7.2, a low alkalinity of 87, calcium hardness is low at 78. Your ideal ranges are right up top here, so we want to keep a pH between 7.4 to 7.6. That's where chlorine is most effective and people are most comfortable. A total alkalinity of 125 to 150. Alkalinity is the buffer, or the boss of pH. So if your alkalinity is low, your pH will be low, and it will never adjust well. Calcium hardness is the amount of minerals that are in your water to make sure that it's not too aggressive on your equipment and your pool liner. Optimizer is a mineral that we add to all of our brand new Aqua-Tech pools because it makes chlorine more effective, helps a little go a long way, keeps your water incredibly soft, incredibly smooth, and works amazing in an ultraviolet pool to use as little synthetic chemicals as possible. We want 30 to 35 parts per million of Optimizer in the pool at all times. This particular pool has 0 for chlorine. As we mentioned before, we want that up in that 1 to 3 part per million range. So we would add 2 bags of Smart Shock right away, bump up our sticks, and just keep a closer eye on that and add more or less sticks as needed to keep that level. The reason why our chlorine's low could be because our CYA is low. CYA is stabilizer. The chemical name is cyanuric acid. That's why the CYA. Stabilizer acts like sunscreen for your chlorine and helps to keep it in the presence of sunlight. So once your pool is installed and built, we put cyanuric acid in, or stabilizer, and it helps protect your chlorine. This is a product that you'll only add about once a year and never add it before getting your water tested, because cyanuric acid only degrades, or only dilutes, it never degrades, so you don't have to add it very much. Alright, that's all the technical science talk. Let's just jump to your directions. Please have your printout in front of you and refer to your step-by-step instructions. Most folks will have fairly similar things, although different dosages, but we typically all have to do the same kind of steps when our pools are brand new. Step 1 is to raise your low alkalinity. Broadcast that Balance Pack 100 across the pool surface and just brush anything that's not dissolved. The softer or more widespread you broadcast the product, the less brushing you'll have to do. It is instantly soluble, and if a little bit gets on the pool floor, just sweep at it with your brush. Wait at least 2 hours or longer before you go to the next step, but you can jump in the pool and start swimming in 15 minutes. The next step is to adjust your pH with some low and slow. When your alkalinity comes up, so will your pH, so it's important to just pop that little guy down. Now, anything less than half a kilogram or 500 grams can certainly just be our printout being extra precise, taking into consideration the chemistries of all products that are on this printout. So if you are finished your Balance Pack 100 and your 2-hour wait is over, just check your pH on your test strips. If your pH looks good, you can certainly skip this step, but if the pH looks high, add the low and slow. Broadcast across the surface, wait 15 minutes before you move on to the next step, but you can swim in 15 minutes if you like. Whenever there are waiting periods, you can always wait longer, just not shorter. You can even do it over many days if you like. The next step is that stabilizer or cyanuric acid to protect your water from that chlorine dissipating in the sun. 8 liters of instant stabilizer goes into this pool, but check your dosage on your printout. Shake the bottle well, and then brush behind the product after you pour it in. The next step, which you can move on to right after your stabilizer, is bumping up that calcium hardness. No osteoporosis for the pool liner in this pool. 2 kilograms of Balance Pack 300 gets broadcast across the surface, but you never want to add more than 3 kilos per 37,000 liters, so you can divide that into thirds if there's a large dose of Balance Pack 300. In this particular pool, no division is required. You can swim within 15 minutes. As we mentioned before, the chlorine level in this pool is too low, so 2 bags of Smart Shock would be added, and these can go anytime. Even if you want to put it in at the same time as you're putting in that Balance Pack 100, you certainly could, because the most important thing to do at all times is get that chlorine level between 1 to 4 and keep it there. Finally, we're going to add some Optimizer. 14 kilograms goes in. We divide this product into thirds, and then just broadcast in directly into the pool and wait 1 to 2 hours between each dose. Again, if you want to do this slowly over a few days, you certainly can. Just wait an hour before swimming after Optimizer goes in, just to make sure it's distributed. That's it for how to read a printout. If you have questions, always reach out to us anytime. watercare@aqua-tech.ca or 204-233-8822. We can hardly wait to start testing your water, and even better, we can hardly wait to see some photos of you enjoying that brand new pool. Congratulations!